Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I have a really good video for you guys today. I have recently been inclined to talk about my journey. I have been putting it all out on my other platforms, and what better way than to do it on YouTube. So I am in the process of moving and having a big life transition happen for me in the immediate near future. But in doing so, what I always do is I like to do a little digital cleaning, and y'all are not going to believe what I found. I found my old pay stubs. In itself, it doesn't seem like it's anything, what, your old pay stubs. But for me, it tells a completely different story. You see, 4 years ago, well, a little bit over four, about 4.5 years ago, I was able to catastrophically increase my salary. And this was by having no online presence because I was not on any social media. This wasn't about having any connections whatsoever. It's just really understanding the art of personal branding and putting yourself out there and leveraging the skills that I had at the time in order to get something that I want that was better. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through that journey. I'm going to pull out my old pay stubs, show it on the screen, and we're going to have a little bit of a chit chat so we can really understand what we're talking about. And hopefully by the end of this video, you feel inspired and you want to take control of your journey, because it definitely can be taken control of. You just have to know what tools and resources you need. So let's hop over to the computer so I can begin. So even before I even started this whole thing, I asked myself, I said, Jackie, are you sure you want to put your business out there to the public? But I thought about it. Yes, because the thing is, we need a little bit more transparency in this world. There is just so much that goes on, and I think it can help a lot of people if people were more transparent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so we can start. And y'all just know that we getting into the nitty gritty over here. So let's get started. Okay, so because I just love organization, I put everything in chronological order so we can go over every single job, starting with my first job as an operation assistant. And no, this was not my very first job, but we're going back to 2017 so you can understand what is happening. So as you can see, in 2017, I got this job as an operations assistant working for the United States Army, working in the sports division to be specific. And this was your typical office manager. They just call it operation assistant. And I did everything from payroll to on down. But what you can see here is I made $11.26. That's it. Working 80 hours. My checks was $900, but I only brought home $795. And at the time, we were a family of five, and that was tight. Not as tight as it is right now in 2022, but it was definitely still tight. But from this job, I learned a lot of skills that put me in the position that I'm at right now. So I learned payroll. I learned project management skills. I really learned how to manage an office, even if it was like more military based, but I learned that. I learned about vendor management. Now, interestingly enough, I didn't even know it was vendor management until I came into the position that I'm at right now. But hindsight, looking back, it was a lot of vendor management because we had to deal with a lot of different vendors, especially when we're putting on the different sports events. And I learned about how to manage sports events. Now that was fun, from the ticket sales, from the marketing, to dealing with cross-functional teams like the marketing department, like the procurement department, and everybody else that was involved in making an event happen. So from this, although it was, I would say, little pay, I did have some experience to bring to my next job. So for this job, I was there from September 2017 to September 2018. And the reason I was there for a year is because my husband got orders at the time, because we were a military family and we had to leave. So then we had to pack up all our stuff, and I had to try to find a job at our next duty station, which was here in the state of Florida, in Tampa to be exact. So that's how much I made for that time. So once I left that job, I actually started to apply. And one thing that I found interesting was I definitely like the payroll aspect of my job that I had previously. So then I decided to apply for a job at the district, Hillsborough County School District. And that is where I got another office manager job. So let's hop into here to see exactly how much it was that I got paid. So as you can see, this is me because it's my name. And you see I worked 80 hours, and this is one of the paychecks that I received. And you could see my hourly rate was $15.01. So yes, I made a jump, not that much of a jump, but it was a jump. My earnings were a little bit more, and I was bringing home a little more, well, a lot more, over $400 more than I was bringing home when I worked at my previous job. So let's talk about how I was able to get this job and secure this job, even with the experience that I had. So since I did have office manager experience, I was able to leverage that. One of the things that was so important about this role was payroll. And when I came in person to the interview, they asked me, hey, we use a specific system, and that system was Lawson. If you know, you know. And they said, do I have any of that experience? Now, the funny thing is, I didn't have any of that experience, but that's the thing. You don't let that be a negative whenever you're on an interview process. So I didn't. So I answered that question the slickest way I knew how. And I said, at the end of the day, a system's a system. And I'm a systems girl. I can learn any system that you put in front of me. So at the time, I was using a system primarily for the military, but they wanted to use their system primarily for the district. And I said, I can learn that system. You give me the manual, because every system comes with a manual, I'm able to do it. So because I came there with that type of attitude, they were like, yes, that's our girl. We're going to hire her, wowed them over. And I was able to get a $4 increase. Okay, so we're still at the district at this time. And what is so interesting now is I am not the type of person to just sit around. I never was, never will be. I'm always looking for what's next. Now that could come at a downside, that can come at not a good thing, bad thing, whatever you want to do it. But at this time, I was an office manager, and I said, yo, this job is like not for me. Yes, I like literally mastered my job in a month. And I said, I can't believe this is a 40-hour job. So next, I said, I have to look for something else. And the cool thing about working for the district was that you can actually apply to other jobs while you're on the clock. And they have to give you that time to go to the interview and come back and everything like that. So I started like applying like crazy. Next thing you know, I seen they were looking for a payroll specialist in the payroll department. So I applied to that job, and I was actually able to get that job as well. So, how did I get that position? Well, once again, I went to the hiring manager, and she was completely wowed out. Like, I made this lady believe that I was like, if you don't hire me, then you are missing out on somebody that is totally awesome. And that is one of the things that I really, really, really try to tell, well, not try, I really instill in all of my clients. If you are looking to go higher, and if you are looking to get in a position that you may not be qualified for, because I wasn't qualified to do payroll specialist. Yeah, I've been doing payroll, from putting the information together, making sure I send it over to the payroll department. That was as much as that I was doing, but I was not by any means qualified to be a payroll specialist. But what I was able to do was utilize the skills that I do have and able to actually speak on them. So while I do not have payroll experience, I knew that payroll is all about compliance, and it's all about following directions, and it's all about one thing happening before the next thing can kick off. So I have great attention to detail and anything around that nature. And it didn't hurt the fact that I was a numbers girl. I was a numbers girl, and I was a systems girl. So that just was like, the hiring manager said, look, you're the person that I want, and that's it. Like, I'm shutting down the job posting. And if we go into looking at the pay stub, you could see that I got a bump in $8 to $18.17 an hour. So, yep. So now we are going from $11, then we hit $15. Now we're at $18.17. And I did that in less than a year, because from September to that June, that's less than a year. So when we look at the earnings, you can see that I'm bringing a lot more home. So I'm bringing over $400 extra home. And that definitely made a difference on a bi-weekly basis. And the reason why I'm showing the whole paycheck is because I want you guys to see. There is no shame in what I am showing you or anything like that. How we get better at anything is by learning and seeing what others have done in order to get there. So this is like one of those, like, I'm putting it all out there. I hope you are enjoying it. And if you made it this far, please just give a like or give a clap or say, what are you doing right now to help elevate your career? So now we are there. I'm a payroll specialist. And once again, I was like, you know what? I mastered the job. And that's one thing that is really great. It does not take that long to master anything if you truly want to master it. Now, I can do a whole nother video if you want. Let me know in the comments down below of how do you go in and actually master what you set forth out to master. Because I learned this job. I learned it, and I was proving it. 3 weeks into the job, they put me on a special project because they were implementing a new payroll system. And you see me doing the loose quotes because this is what catapulted my career to where it is right now. They came to me, they said, hey, Joaquina, you're a systems girly, right? And I was like, yeah. And they was like, how would you like to do any type of configuration coding or something like that? Didn't you mention that you coded? I said, yeah, I actually got my associate's degree in coding. So they was like, oh, well, this will be perfect. Now, anyone who has ever configured a system, they know that you're not coding anymore. It's a drag and drop type of situation, just like building a website. But it was surprising to them because they didn't know how to do it. And let me pause for a second because this is a very important fact. If you know more than the next person, even if it's just a little bit more, you already have the advantage working in your favor. And you might want to leverage that. That's what you have to leverage. Leverage what you know and what the other person doesn't. And that's how you can catapult your career. That's how you can easily get ahead. But I don't want to bring this off topic, but that was just something that I really wanted to talk about, especially when it came to employment. So next, let's go into the next job. So I was at this job from June 2019 until where was it? Until February 2020. And I was honestly, I was like, look, I'm not really getting anything out of being a payroll specialist. I'm on this new project and I'm loving this new project. Now, the cool thing about this project was I was able to make really great connections, especially with the IT department, in particular, the CTO. Okay. And if he's out there and he hears this, hey, Rick, how you doing? So I was able to, because I was in school, I had to do my dissertation. Because I was doing my dissertation on the school district, I said, let me go over to the IT department to see if I can actually interview them. Well, I went to my payroll manager, who was the GM for the payroll. And I said to her, I said, hey, I'm doing this thing with my master's program. Now, at the time, they didn't even know I was getting a master's. No one knew, but I let the cat out the bag as soon as that happened. I said, hey, I'm getting a master's. Is there any way that you can connect me with the IT department because that runs in line with what my dissertation? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, Joaquina, yes, of course I can do that. Let me go over there. Let me walk you over there. So she walked me over there and she did a very soft introduction or a warm introduction, and she told him who I was. So then I said, okay, so this is the guy that I need to talk to. So y'all see how that was slick. But I really did need to do something for my dissertation. That wasn't a joke. So then I started talking to him and he was like, so what are you doing in the payroll department? I said, honestly, I've been trying to be full transparent. I'm trying to get out of the payroll department. I want to work in a field that is more aligned with what I'm going to school for. And for those of you who don't know, I have a master's in information technology with an emphasis in digital cybersecurity. So that's what I was trying to do. He was like, huh. So then we started talking and he was like, you should not be in the payroll department. I said, I really should not be in the payroll department. I belong in IT. So I put that bug in his ear. So fast forward, a few weeks later, he reached out to me and said, hey, Joaquina, I'm opening up a programmer analyst position for this HCM transformation project that we're doing here in the district. And I was like, oh, okay. Hey, how you doing, Rick? And then he was like, do you want to apply for the position? I was like, sure. So sure enough, I applied and I was able to get that position. So this is the pay for that position, just to touch on it. My pay went from $18 to over $28. Y'all, that was a $10 jump. That was like unheard of at the time. I was so like, what in the world is happening here? I was like, There is no way. But if you look at what is happening, you will see that my earnings increased. Everything just went up. I even, because of the different pay grade that I was on at the time, my vacation went up. Everything just went up. So everything started getting really great for me. But everything doesn't always come with sometimes you just have to level up. I'm just going to be honest. I just felt like in the role that I was at the time, I deserved more. My pay was very, very low, especially compared to the people that I was working alongside. And I was just like, yo, I can't do this. I have to level up. So I said to myself, if I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to have to assess myself and see what job that I need to go to. So I started searching online and I said, okay, these are my different skills that I have. What type of jobs can I go into? And then it brought up a payroll consultant. If you want to transition outside of what they call industry, you can go into a more payroll consultant role where you're working for a company that consults with so many different industries. I said, oh my goodness, that sounds perfect. So now my eyes were set on that. But I had one little issue. And my issue was I ain't never been a consultant before. I've never been a consultant. So I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to convince the consultant firm that I needed to be a consultant? So the first thing I did was take a look at my resume. Okay. I was like, okay, first of all, this is not going to work. I haven't updated my resume since I got in a district. Yes, this works with the district, but this is not going to work on the outside world. Next thing I did, I had to look at the skill sets of a consultant and then bring it back into, okay, how does this apply to me? So once I did that little exercise, I was able to revamp my resume. So then I said, okay, my resume is good. Okay, so let me start putting it out. And y'all, when I started to do that, I started to put it in, I started to shoot it back out. I started getting calls and I didn't make a lot of them, but I started getting callbacks. I started getting interviews, and then I was able to land the job where I'm at now, which is at none other than Accenture. And you see, from there, from that job to Accenture, I doubled my income, just like that. So I just wanted to bring you guys along on the journey. That is insane. If we add up all the time from 2017 September to when I got my job at Accenture in 2022 in February, that is less than 4.5 years. 4.5 years. And I did it because I kept with it. I knew I wanted to go higher. I knew I wanted more. I knew that I have to get to a certain point in order for me to get what I desired. And at that time, it was a house. I wanted a home. And yes, we were able to buy the homes. We were able to actually buy multiple homes because of the new salary. But the point is, it started from having that vision a long time ago. I want to be here. Now, did I know I want to be at six figures? Absolutely, totally not. I honestly didn't even think that was in my purview. Even with a master's degree, I still didn't believe that I was even capable of getting six figures. But one thing about this journey, it's all about personal branding. All about how you want people to perceive who you are. And that's what I did every step of the way. I wanted to control that narrative, and you have to control that narrative. If you want to get ahead You have to control the narrative of what people think about you. That is your social media presence. That's how you look online, how you would appear to yourself. Take a quick assessment. Look at all your social media profiles and ask yourself, is how I'm showing up on social media the right way that I want people to perceive me? And if the answer is no, then there's some changes that need to happen. Then there's some change that needs to happen. Because one thing about it, especially nowadays, jobs, they are utilizing social media to look for candidates. So I hope this video has been very, very, very long, but I hope that it has inspired you. If you enjoyed me going behind the scenes and taking a look at all of my pay so you could see in real time, because there's no, I mean, transparency is a thing around here, but I just want to show y'all that you can do it, whatever. And it may not be this type of astronomical jump like I was able to do. It just may be a small bump. But whatever it is, I'll leave my contact information in the description box. If you want to connect outside of YouTube, I'm definitely open to that. No pressure. And make sure if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, and share it with someone that you think it will be beneficial for. And with that, y'all, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.